Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Mr. Dixon. Thanks for our good discussion yesterday. I appreciate you coming by, and I appreciate the family being here and your outstanding decades of service to our country in the military. And as a pilot, I think you're very, very qualified for this position. I did want to reemphasize Senator Cruz's point that he made earlier. I think it's a really important one, not just for the FAA, but any agency, and that's this whole topic of agency capture, where our, federal agencies that are supposed to be independent become too cozy with the actual entities they're regulating, be it Boeing or major airlines. So can you just reiterate, if confirmed, that you will make sure that, as you've stated, your number one focus will continue to be on safety, and your number one constituency is not those you regulate, it's the American people?
Absolutely. You have that ironclad commitment.
Thank you.
And I think I would just call attention to my military service. I think I mentioned it's charitable for a Marine to refer to an Air Force guy as military.
Well, I do it all the time with the chair.
Well, that's right. I guess the chairman as well. So, but no, I think that my track record of being able to work in a collaborative fashion, but certainly understand that the decision needs to be made by the agency, and actions need to be taken to make sure that the system safety is absolutely the highest priority. And my service is to the American public, if I'm confirmed.
Thank you. Let me talk about my state, and we talked about it a lot in the meeting yesterday. Alaska has very unique aviation needs. As you know, we had a tragic mid-air collision that took place Monday outside of Ketchikan, and I'd like to offer my condolences and prayers for the victims. 6 victims so far lost their lives, tour operators, their families, and medical staff in Ketchikan and Seattle, and the emergency responders and search crews all still working hard. As we talked about, Alaska has very unique needs, very unique infrastructure needs. In the FAA reauthorization, there's a number of provisions that try to address what we see as kind of lacking in very significant variations in infrastructure at destination airports throughout the state. Visual flight rules, IFR flight rules, we have it all there. So will you, if confirmed, will you commit to work with me on the implementation of those provisions and other infrastructure-related needs?
Yes, Senator Sullivan. As we discussed, I recognize Alaska as a unique state in terms of not only is it a largely rural state, it really is in many ways almost the last frontier.
It is the last frontier.
And therefore, it really does, to an extent that we don't see in just about any other part of the country, the fabric of the community relies on aviation.
Let me just dig a little deeper on that, because there's an irony that you're touching on. We have over 200 communities that aren't connected by roads. So we're not just rural, we're extreme rural. So the need for air travel, safe air travel, is so important to my constituents. And yet, small population states have a hard time competing with FAA infrastructure needs, the way in which, I won't go into the details, but the formula, as you know, disadvantages actually small population states, even though our need is so great. So can I get your commitment, as we talked about yesterday, to work with you on making sure that we're not disadvantaged, particularly as it relates to infrastructure funding, when states like mine actually need that infrastructure funding and safety in ways that are critical to so many Alaskans?
Yes, Senator, I'll be happy to work with you on that. I understand there needs to be a balance, and I used the word holistically before, but I think it applies in this particular case. Certainly, if I'm confirmed, the responsibility to manage and lead a national system is a very high priority, but it needs to be balanced with unique local considerations, as you highlight.
Thank you, and I look forward. I know you're going to put together your schedule, but we did talk about possibly having you attend a meeting of our air carriers and other stakeholders in Anchorage in late August, and look forward to trying to get you up there. But certainly want to get your commitment to come to Alaska soon in your tenure to see the great state and the last frontier, but our unique needs. Can I get that?
I've been there many times, and I look forward to a return trip if I'm confirmed.
Finally, Mr. Chairman, just real quick, Mr. Dixon, you saw whether it's Senator Lee's focus on FAA schools, Senator Duckworth's focus on ATC privatization. I think there's a lot of bipartisanship in this committee on some of the big issues. So I just want to associate myself with what Senator Lee had mentioned about, making sure the students who actually go to, like, for example, University of Alaska in Anchorage, we have a great school that trains FAA, future FAA flight control and safety officials for the FAA. It would seem to me makes a lot of sense to make sure that those individuals get a hard look from you as opposed to others. But we want to work with you on those and other issues. But again, appreciate your service. I think you're very well qualified for this job.
Thank you, sir.